Good morning, Inspired Illuminators. It is me, Jennifer Engel, CEO and founder of Inspired Illuminate. It is me doing these jaunts with Jen, still working on highest possibility states. I also have another book that I'm working on very slowly in the background called Left Brain Right. It's more of a fiction book. Highest possibility states is taking me a lot longer than I thought. But it's okay. I want it to be well done. My first book, Heaven Under Construction, was more for me on how to deal with getting through cancer. And the second book is more all the tips and tricks and strategies that I learned over my lifetime to get through difficult moments. And out of that was also birthed, if you will, this grid or matrix system and self-evaluation system. So I think that's going to be the most valuable part of the book, which I'm considering just putting out as a PDF, I think, possibly early to mid-January. And then doing a deep dive with the people who read it and look at it and see if they actually want it published or bound. And then if so, then I would work with a local bookbinder. And then that would probably be ready, I don't know, maybe February or March. So that's where that is. But that's not what I came out in the cold Illinois morning, which is really beautiful and calm. Many people have their Christmas lights up. The grass is twinkling like pixie dust from the crystals that are upon it. The sky is clear. Orion is out walking with me, which means the stars are out. It's a beautiful, calm morning here in the suburbs of Chicago. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Calm and creation. It's funny, I never planned to do these talks. They just kind of hit me. And then they do seem to hit me around the moon cycles. So yesterday, here in the northwest part of the United States, we went into a new moon cycle yesterday. New moon, which means no moon in the sky, or at least that we can see, means the sun is not reflecting upon it, is symbolic of the subconscious. And so a lot of times in order to get to our subconscious, we need to be calm. So, I don't know, a month ago or so, a couple weeks, I was talking about the purge, how stuff was coming up to the surface for us to get rid of that could get us prepared for the perfect. And maybe I need to clarify that a little bit. What does the perfect mean? I think the perfect doesn't necessarily mean that everything is like hearts and rainbows and unicorns. Preparing for the perfect, I think, means preparing for the perfect peace. And that's kind of what this time of year is about, isn't it? preparing for the perfect peace. Now, there are many people, and again, if you're one of them, that is awesome. I support your beliefs. And no one has to agree with mine. Again, I simply share them because when other people shared their beliefs with me, I either listened to it and said, well, that's interesting. There are some things I agree with, but some things don't jive with me, which might be you listening to me. And there's other people who spoke, and I listened, and it was like, that matches more my experience of the world. And so again, as a disclaimer, I guess, that's the only reason why I share these jaunts with Jen, is because if someone out there is a little less lonely, if it's opened your mind to new ideas that inspire you to live a better life, even if it's just one person. And I know many people have told me that it helps them. And so that's why I do this. And most of my followers are what do we call them? Sneakers to the well. I think because on one hand, I see the world very radically and differently than many people. But on the other hand, I'm learning I'm not alone. It seems like a bunch of us are spread out like stars across the earth or wherever. So, the perfect peace, the Prince of Peace, waiting for the Christ, the light, the Creator to be born. One thing the universe has been really talking to me about is that we are the Prince of Peace. We are the perfect peace. We are the creators. And that's what we came down here to learn. Now, I also believe that this is a planet because a lot of it is blue and green. Which if you look at the chakra systems, that's the heart and the throat chakra. So I think we came down here to learn how to create out of love and how to share our creations of love with others through our breath, through our expression. Again, that's just my belief in how I see the world. Now, when we are born, people are constantly creating for us. Our parents, our family, our community members. And as we grow, there's a traditional recipe, which may or may not always be followed now in modern times, that has basic creators. We learn how to create partnerships of love. We learn how to create a home. Some of us, many, learn how to create children. Create being a parent, whether that be to a pet or an actual child. Or create careers, right? There are many things we learn how to create. But what happens if the recipe doesn't work for you, or you're in periods of what I call the doldrums? There are a couple of awkward times, I don't know, maybe like 12 to 16 or so, when you're starting to become a teenager. You want a little bit more independence, but you can't quite drive and be responsible yet. That might be a period of awkwardness. I think my son was like 20. Again, you think you're an adult, but you're not quite an adult. And nobody's really creating for you anymore. It is your time to learn how to be the creator. Times when we might go through sickness. Times when the children leave the nest. What happens when they leave? What more is there to create? In addition, many people experience many high highs and low lows. What happens when you don't experience the excitement of life anymore? And some people start to get depressed because they think, well, that's it. The excitement of life is over. And I know because I've been there. So again, my pattern, what I see for how to enter through the gate of perfect peace and how to learn how to be a creator, maybe beyond the physical world, beyond the basics of creating, is first learning, knowledge, research, study, rather than just sitting back and consuming entertainment, if you will. As a side note, people are starting to find that in some aspects we're like little rats in a lab, where we have this feel-good water, and we keep pushing the button to get the feel-good water. It's called the notifications on our phone. It's called TV. Students nowadays, or especially with COVID, when they have access to those things, are kind of like, if you don't entertain me, I don't want to listen to you. So some people are starting to, just like we go on food detoxes, some people are starting to go on social media or dopamine detoxes, so that their brain can get used to, you don't have to feel good and excited and high all the time. And again, I've said, I think that's another reason why people don't want to start the spiritual journey. Because it's not easy. There's a lot of reflection. There's a lot of looking at yourself and your ego and your misperceptions. There's a lot of quiet. There's a lot of calm. And people, I think, sometimes mistake quiet and calm for boring and depressing. And it can feel that way at times. But what the universe has been showing me is we are the prisms. We sit in this invisible prism, if you will, inside of a triangle. Another way to look at it is creation comes out of the calm. similar to being maybe in a mother's womb where we are safe and protected and calm. But it's dark and there's little to no movement. That's where creation can take place. That's where the infinite number of possibilities of who and what we are exist. Not out in this physical world, but inside of us. And rather than thinking to ourselves, what else is there? In a negative tone, sit in that triangle of peace in that womb of creation and ask like a child, what else is there? Because children are so good at asking the universe, and the universe shows it to them, and they express it. So, in order to create, you have to get to the calm, and you have to almost return to innocence. So everything you feel you lost, it's waiting to find you again. It never left you. You just buried it deep down. As time went on, you felt you were getting further and further from it again. But it never left you, because in that calm creation space, once you've crossed what I call the rainbow bridge, once you've faced your ego, once you've faced your fears and turned them into courage through meditation, mindfulness, and visualization and reflection and practice, just like going to the gym. Once you've turned guilt into acceptance, once you've turned insecurity into self-confidence, once you've turned anger and jealousy into compassion and or love, once you've turned lies into truth, once you've turned misperception into clear perception, then they say your crown chakra is open and the universe can talk to you. Your higher self can talk to you when you are in the calm. And so we experience waves. When we have not flipped the script on some of our old stories that hold us back, the waves tend to be more tumultuous. They tend to be higher highs and lower lows. As we learn to reprogram ourselves, flip the script, we rewire our minds, the waves tend to be a lot smoother. You feel more content rather than excited. You feel more calm rather than depressed. And it is in this calm that we can still create. But what we need to do is we need to go back in the past. We need to use our mind. We need to use our senses to return to innocence, to rediscover what was never lost in the first place, just simply what was forgotten. And I've learned to do this, and we often do this subconsciously, sometimes consciously, through music, through food, especially this time of year, family traditions, through discovering things of our ancestors. Recently, one of my husband's family members sent my son, I think it was his great-grandfather's art kit that he hadn't used for 50 years. And now my son is using it to create a picture of his great-grandfather using his great-grandfather's art tools. It's tapping into what is still there: joy, innocence. It might be pulling out pictures and trying to recreate those feelings. What were you feeling during those times? It's still there. Recreate the moment. I was watching my two sons dancing and singing to a little silly dancing and singing Santa toy. If you forgot that joy, pull that toy out and sing and dance. But so many times people say, I'm too grown up. I can't do that anymore. Well, I don't know. I guess I'd rather not be grown up. And this is where Peter Pan comes in. I'd rather experience joy and contentment and happiness rather than be grown up and feel the doldrums. And I'm not saying being grown up is bad. We need a balance of everything. We need our higher self to parent our younger self. But not to the point where the parent takes all the joy, fun, and imagination out of the child that is still living within us. So today, for me, the two words that came up this morning when I was reflecting is calm is where the creation is. You are the Prince of Peace. You are the Christ. You are the light. As the Lego movie says, you are the special. And, sometimes I can poo-poo all the materialism that this time of year brings out. But when we're bringing gifts to each other, I think we're reinforcing that idea. The way the kings brought the gifts to the Christ, we're reminding each other, I bring gifts to your light. Often we'll give gifts to each other that reflect our light. And we're encouraging each other to bring out our own light. So, for the next 7 days or so, try not to be scared of the calm. I know some people haven't reached the peace yet. And so maybe during the calm, practice mindfulness, meditation, and visualization for the time that you have available to you. Okay? For those of you who have calm, try to find your light, your creation. When the darkest night of the year is gone and the physical light returns, what are you going to return with it? What are you going to bring out for others? So, a lot of times I don't have a script. I just walk and talk. I just say what comes out of the top of my mind, or actually what flows out of my heart. And this morning, it was calm. Calm is where creation is. You are the Prince of Peace. You are the Christ. You are the light. You are the Creator. And I've also found that what can also cause depression is when we don't have someone to share our creations with. So that might be the second piece. Who can you share your creations with? Who is around you that wants to hear, see, feel, experience your creations? And a lot of times what the universe tells me is let go of the details. So many times in our own mind, we think we know what that should look like and feel like. Well, I've learned over the past 8 years, and especially 2.5 years, that this is where you are the creator, but we live in a juxtapositional world where there is an overall universal creative force. And I have learned to let go of the details, to surrender. And every morning I say to the Creator, you know what's in my heart and mind. Please take these thoughts and feelings and alchemize them in a higher timeline. Then play them out through me in this vibrational, emotional, mental, and above all, physical reality. And so what I do is, on one hand, I lay out the details. This is what I want. And then I almost hand over my order to the chef in the sky, if you will. And I say, okay, here's my order. Here's what I think I want, but you're the expert in this area. Knowing my general wants and desires, can you create something for me that I can't even dream or imagine would taste or look so good? And it's like the chef in the sky says, yes, I can. But then the deal is you have to wait at the table while it's kind of being created. And you have to get quiet. And then it brings it back to you. And that's where you have to be quiet and listen. I wrote a story the other day for my writers group called Gnomes in the Home. And it opened with something like, I opened my eyes and I took a long stretch after waking upon my slumber. And I waited for the knowing. A lot of times, this is how I work in the morning. I wake up, I review kind of the details I wanted, but then I listen for the knowing. And it's almost like, in my mind, I'm channel surfing. I can see, but more importantly, I can feel in my spine and in my stomach which show I want to tune into. And then I go, oh, that's it. That's the one right there. And then I get up. It's a knowing. It's the universe showing me the possibilities and me tuning into which one feels right. And I say, yes, that's the one I want. And then I get out of bed and I jump into that flow. So many times people fight the flow. You know, I wake up anywhere from midnight to 3 in the morning. And it used to be 3, then it was 2, sometimes 1. This morning it was midnight. In the past, I would have fought that flow. But I've learned, no. If you get up and you jump into that flow, and you have the right state of mind, that you trust the universe flow, rather than, think it's going to be a bad day because you're co-creators. So if you get up and think it's going to be a bad day, it'll be a bad day. But if you get up and you listen and you go, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do now, and you jump into that flow, you can have a magical day. You can have a perfect day. So, again, as we move into these next couple days, as we close out the darkest days of the year here in the United States. If you're on the other side of the world, you're experiencing the opposite. Say, blessed is the calm, for it forces me inside. That's the place where the Prince of Peace and the Christ in the light does reside. So that when the light returns, so shall I. And then you can bring your own gifts and joy to every girl and guy. I know, it's kind of silly. Sorry. Anyway, I hope this talk has helped someone today so that you can use this time of reflection to think about, where is your own peace? Where is your own joy? It's still there inside of you. Look at pictures. Pull up songs. Create food. Make things and share them with others. And I know it's difficult now because we're in this pandemic, but the other thing that I've learned over the past 2.5 years is when you keep people in your heart, you really keep people in your heart, and you really keep their memories in your mind alive and well, and you use your imagination, you can almost experience them as if they are right there. A lot of times I'll put on my noise-canceling headphones. I've created special playlists for people. And I create, and I listen, and I pretend that those people are right with me. Because one thing I've also learned in the past 2.5 years, we are entangled with those who are entangled with us. We are entangled with those who love us. And in the physical world, there is separation. There is distance. But inside that prism, inside that calm, inside that love, inside that joy, there is no such thing. I've experienced spooky action at a distance to the point where I thought I was going a little crazy. I thought someone was hacking my phone, or that was about 2.5 years ago. And I realized that the universe was teaching me about entanglement. That you could be halfway around the world from somebody. You could be 20 or 30 miles or several states away from somebody. And when you keep them so strong within your heart and your mind, to the point where you can feel them right next to you, they can feel it within their calm internal space. No phones needed. It's creepy, it's weird, but it's true. And I think that even goes beyond the grave. So if you've lost someone, or you're feeling lonely because you can't be with someone because of the pandemic, they're there. It's not just some BS movie, make you feel good stuff. I've experienced it. All you have to do is dig down deep inside of you. Find those memories. Find those feelings. Because when you get the goosebumps, when you get the joy, when you get the memory where you can almost see them and touch them in front of you. There you go. That is when you found your own Christ and light. And that is what I'm hoping to teach people. How do you get there? And it's going to be a process. So again, during this time of darkness, of quiet, of calm, you have choices. See it as dark and depressing, or see it as an opportunity to learn, because that's the first step, learning. The second step is script flipping. Oh, it's not depressing, it's just learning. Okay, what do I need to learn? That's the third step. Open yourself up. Ask. Get quiet. And if your fears or whatever come in, then again, you script flip. Script flip, script flip, script flip. That's your number one priority. If you're experiencing calm, then you open yourself up and you say, what can I create? What can I tune into? Show me the possibilities. And then see if in your mind, it's almost like pretend like you're sitting in front of a TV. And the universe is showing you the different versions of what your day or whatever could look like. Tune into the one that makes you feel good. Jump into the flow. Recreate. Go back in time, those joyous moments with food, with song. Whether someone is with you or not, pretend like they were. Set a place at the table. Sing and dance with them in the kitchen as if they were there. Let go. Relax. I think that's what this time is for. I hope that this has helped someone today so that you can use your own light, your own peace, your own return to innocence, your own power of creation to very first help yourself find and discover those things, give them to yourself, and then when you're ready, share them. First with those closest to you, and then the world. Because now, more than ever, the world needs your skills, your talents, your creations, and it needs you. Peace and blessings.